Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show for you today. Oh, boy. Yep, the NCAA is lowering the boom on Michigan and the whole sign stealing fiasco. And it just so happened to fall the day before the Netflix special that Connor Stalions is putting out. What are the odds? Now, remember, the NCAA is not political. They never take that type of stuff into consideration. This just happened to be when the notice of allegations was going to naturally fall. You knew I wasn't going to let the NCAA get away with that. Now, I'm going to cover the crap out of this Michigan and Connor Stalions or sign stealing. But the NCAA, I mean, it's so obvious. It's just so obvious how political they are. And being a Tennessee fan myself, I know how they work. If they want something out, they leak it out. That's what they do.
Now fly!
But anyway, let's get into the Michigan stuff. And Michigan fans, man, I'm telling you, poor Humongous. I have this guy. He's going to go on strike. Michigan fans, you're not going to want to watch this. It's not going to be pretty. So, Humongous, do it.
Just walk away.
Yep. Just walk away, Michigan fans. I don't want you coming in the comment section wearing me out. The guy was stealing signs. You can't do that. And then he ran off. And so did Jim Harbaugh. He took off. Brave Sir Harbaugh.
Brave Sir Robin ran away.
No!
Bravely ran away.
I didn't!
Anyway, let's get into the story. All right, so the NCAA is formally, now it's not just a rough draft, issued its notice of allegations to Michigan. It says both Michigan and NCAA confirmed Sunday, just 2 days before the Netflix special, they'd received the notice of allegations for its sign-stealing scandal.
Sign stealer guy.
Michigan's got 90 days to respond before the case heads to the Committee of Infractions. Now, we knew this was coming. We just weren't sure of the exact day. And again, right before the Netflix special, which comes out, they say it's at 3 a.m. on Tuesday morning, so it'll be in, I don't know, about 14 hours from now, which is such a weird time to put out a special like that, 3 a.m. Eastern.
Weird.
Anyway, let's see what else this story has to say. It says the allegations, which indicated that Michigan head coach Sharon Moore and former Michigan staffers HARBAUGH, Partridge, Robinson, and Connor Stalions, the architect of Michigan's impermissible in-person scouting operation, were all accused of committing Level 1 violations. Former Michigan assistants Jesse Minter and Klinkscale were also accused of recruiting violations unrelated to Stalions. And institutionally, Michigan faces a Level 1 violation for its pattern of noncompliance within the football program and efforts to hinder or thwart the NCAA's investigation. Those are two words you never want associated to your institution: hinder or thwart. Says the draft stated that Moore, the only individual still with the program that has been accused of violating rules, could face a suspension and show cause penalty for deleting a thread of 52 text messages with Stalions on the same day that all this came out from the media. Moore said he actually looked forward to having those text messages come out, and that Michigan is cooperating with the NCAA fully.
You serious?
Are they really cooperating fully? Let's think about this. All this crap came out, and they wanted to make Jim Harbaugh the highest paid college football coach in history. So how much have they really cooperated? And you Michigan fans, I know the ones that made it through the opening, and you're going to come after me, well, Tennessee cheated. You're right, we did. Jeremy Pruitt paid out $60,000 in various ways, sometimes cash in a Chick-fil-A bag, not a McDonald's bag. But you know what Tennessee did? As soon as they found out about it, Donde Plowman got an email and she went, oh crap. They looked into it. They saw there was a fire where the smoke was, and all the coaches got fired that were involved. Then Tennessee amassed all the evidence, put it into a package, and said, there you go, NCAA. Do what you got to do.
Got the evidence! Put the evidence in the car!
Put the
evidence in the car!
And as a matter of fact, they were exalted for exemplary cooperation. And we wound up getting a 25 scholarship production, 2-year probation, and $8 million fine and all kinds of stuff like that. But then they came back. The NCAA came back after Tennessee over a plane ride with Nico Iamaleava coming from Los Angeles, coming from California to meet in Knoxville with the staff. And I guess he was supposed to do the backstroke from the Pacific Ocean all the way to the Atlantic, maybe come in up through Louisiana and then hitchhike from there. Anyway, the NCAA screwed with Tennessee. We warned them, said you don't want to go down this path because they were talking about the death penalty for us.
Don't be a fool. We can do this easy, or we can do it real easy.
And needless to say, the NCAA didn't listen. So we did what had to be done.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
Yeah, we took care of them. And the NCAA hadn't messed with anybody on NIL since then. Matter of fact, they dropped all their cases. You're welcome, Florida. Oh, I can't believe we helped Florida. Anyway, Michigan, however, in this sign stealing deal, they've not really cooperated, in my opinion, based on what I can tell.
It's got to be America's team.
It says Michigan has 3 months to respond. It's unlikely any sanctions will be issued against Michigan until 2025. It says a hearing will be scheduled after they've responded with the Committee of Infractions to determine penalties, unless Michigan agrees to accept penalties without a hearing. I don't see them doing that because they're probably going to hit their head coach over those thread text messages. Plus, he was already hit over recruiting violations before, which makes him a repeat offender. So they're probably not going to agree to something that's significant. It says, according to NBC Sports, Nicole Auerbach, Minter, and Robinson, the guys that have gone to the NFL, are working with the NCAA on a negotiated resolution. But the rest of the case will proceed to a hearing. Auerbach also reported that Moore and Harbaugh could both be considered repeat violators now that the NCAA has taken care of that whole recruiting issue. And we know that Harbaugh got a 4-year show cause order and 3 years of probation, a fine, and recruiting restrictions for Michigan, etc. And here's the thing about sign stealing, and it talks about that in here. If you're on the other side and you're watching somebody do signs and you can kind of figure out what they're doing during the game, you're allowed to do that, all right? But what you're not allowed to do is send people or forward scout, record the plays and the signals at the same time, and then sit there and decipher them. You're not allowed to do that for obvious reasons. And the NCAA told the Big Ten in November it knew and could prove that Stalions coordinated a vast off-campus, in-person advanced scouting scheme involving a network of individuals, and that he and others acting in his direction video-recorded signs used by future university opponents while attending the opponent's game in person. And it's been reported that Connor Stalions had the signs and had forward scouted Tennessee and Clemson.
Allegedly.
Now, why is that a big deal? I can tell you exactly why it is. Because both those teams, Clemson and Tennessee, were playoff bound. Both of them had a very legitimate chance of going to the playoff, especially if Michigan had lost to Ohio State. So the assumption is, and there was also a person with direct knowledge who said that Connor Stalions may have reached out to a team that was playing both of those teams, according to footballscoop.com. And guess which team that was? The South Carolina Gamecocks. And guess what they did? They magically beat 2 playoff-bound teams in a row, and they seemed to be unstoppable. The games prior to Tennessee, they couldn't hardly score a touchdown. They scored like 10 points and 6 points against Missouri and Florida. Against Florida, couldn't even score a touchdown. But then they scored 9 straight touchdowns against Tennessee and then beat Clemson at Clemson, where they had a 40-game winning streak. And then after that, what did South Carolina do? They went 2-7 their next 9 games after beating 2 top 10 teams. And you know how they finally won their 10th game? They beat Jacksonville State in the 4th quarter because of a turnover. So a lot of people think that South Carolina may very well have received the signs from one Connor Stalions.
Allegedly.
Can I prove it? No. NCAA might be able to, though. We'll see. It's hard to say. We got to see how Michigan responds to this. But I can tell you one thing. TCU knew about it, and they changed their signs and wound up beating Michigan in the playoff back in, I believe it was 2022. And the coach actually spoke about that.
And so we made a couple of changes. Wasn't anything earth-shattering. Made some changes to kind of protect our offense and defense, from them, and as we played in that semifinal game. And I think it certainly helped us. And I don't know that we would have been able to win that game had we not gotten some of that information.
Yeah, well, very smart by you and your coaching staff. I am curious, though, if, and we don't know this, and we haven't read the notice of allegation, but we're seeing some reports coming out of it, if it comes out that, and you mentioned this was a little bit above and beyond as opposed to what you see with normal sign stealing in college football, if in some way it's released that other programs believe they were affected, teams that Michigan was not even playing, but were going to be affected positively by if they lost in the playoff race, how much worse do you think that is from a coaching standpoint?
Oh, I think it's like anything. I mean, look, we have so much on our plates right now that we have to kind of move on. I think we all know that things happen sometimes in college football that maybe we're not comfortable with, and you hope at some point that it's taken seriously and investigated, and you hope at some point that if they decide to punish a school, and I'm not talking about Michigan specifically, any school really for that matter, that it has teeth, just to encourage people to not do it. And I think,
and needless to say, Josh Heupel would have liked to have known that, like the TCU coach did.
Once again, things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday.
And I'm sure Dabo Swinney would have liked to have known that too. In a statement provided by The Athletic on Sunday, Stalions' attorney claimed Connor is a scapegoat in the NCAA's ongoing quest to show that it has a purpose in today's sports world. The notice of allegation says Connor's friends and family sent him film from games they attended with tickets Connor purchased. But there is no rule against that, Stalions' lawyer wrote, adding that the only scouting that took place in this case happened on Michigan's campus from behind Connor's computer. Here's what the Netflix thing's going to tell you. I already know what he's going to say. He's going to say he figured it out on his own, that he had recorded himself doing a bunch of signals and things like that he'd seen over the years, and that he just kind of figured it out and put it on a sheet, and that's how he knew. And that those recordings wouldn't have had enough detailed information for him to really figure that out. He did it on his own. It's going to be something along those lines is what he's going to say. I can just feel it, and there's a reason why he won't meet with the media and talk to them about anything, because he doesn't want any questions. He doesn't want any tough questions. So anyway, be looking for that on Netflix. Like I said, it's saying 3 a.m. That is so weird. But, once it's on Netflix, you can watch it anytime. And here on X, it says, Stalions recently accepted a volunteer position. We knew that at the Mumford High School. And his lawyer wrote, Connor has suffered enough. His lawyer wrote, it's time for everyone to move on. I'm going to go out on a limb and say not everybody's going to move on.
How about no, you crazy Dutch bastard?
Yeah, how about no, Connor? So anyway, this is going to be a whole big thing. I'm definitely going to watch the Netflix special because I can't wait to see what he comes up with. I'm sure it'll be very creative when he talks about sign stealing.
Allegedly.
Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big sports stories. I'm going to keep on top of this one. So hit that little button right here for subscribing. It'll help you get my videos because I'm going to stay on top of this deal. This just intrigues the crap out of me. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.